This is a Fonzie Studio podcast. Welcome to Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and every week I'll share with you a tale and ancient wisdom of the native tribes of North America. I'll be joined by my cats, Dawa and Fonzie, who will undoubtedly make their presence known at some point, so I might as well just list them as co-hosts. We hope you'll enjoy the tales and wisdom, raise your vibration, and enrich your life with us every week. Welcome, friends. Welcome to the 46th episode of Tales from the First Nations. I'm your host, Jay Idle. Well, the dog days of summer are behind us, but I'm sure you can still recall the feeling of standing outside in immense humidity with heat and sweat running down every part of your body. Yeah, fortunately for me, my cats, Dawa and Fonzie, they're not too judgmental about the fact that I sit around my apartment in my underwear dripping with sweat. They don't mind. Like, just don't touch us because we're hot too. That's what they say. Anyway, but what if there was no break in the heat? Then what? Would some hero come along and rescue us? Well, I have two stories today that will answer that very question. According to the people of the Northwest Coast, a hero would come along, and that hero, well, he was a three-legged rabbit. Our first story is called Three-Legged Rabbit Fights the Sun. The origin of this tale is not precise. Ella Clark only notes that it comes from a western Rocky Mountain tribe. Once there was a rabbit with only 3 legs, but he made a wooden leg for himself so that he could move fast. At the time, the sun was very hot, and Rabbit said to himself, "I'll go and see what the problem is." As he hopped towards Sun, he found it getting hotter every day. "The only thing on earth that doesn't burn," said Rabbit, "is cactus." So he made a house of cactus to stay in during the day, and he traveled only at night. When he came to the east, he rose early in the morning and ran toward the place where Sun should appear. He saw the ground boiling and knew that Sun was ready to come up. Rabbit stopped, sat down, and took out his bow and arrows. When Sun was about halfway out of the earth, Rabbit shot. His first arrow hit the heart and killed the Sun. Rabbit stood over the corpse and cried, "The white part of your eye will be clouds." And it was. "The black part of your eye will be the sky." And it was. "Your kidney will be a star, your liver the moon, and your heart the dark." And they were. Then Rabbit said to Sun, "You will never be too hot again, for now you are only a big star." Sun has never been too hot since. And after that day, rabbits have had brown spots behind their ears and on their legs. Their rabbit's fur was scorched during the journey long, long ago to see why Sun was so hot. I don't know exactly how hot it was when Rabbit got involved, but I wouldn't say that he never got too hot again. In that story, the sun was just the sun. But in our next story, the sun is sentient. It's a story from the Cherokees, and it's quite interesting. Many native legends depict the sun as a male being who impregnates mortal women. The Cherokees are one of 3 tribes who view the sun as female. In this classic tale with an Orpheus theme, the sun is an old woman with a grown daughter and human emotions. The sun lived on the other side of the sky vault, but her daughter lived in the middle of the sky, directly above the earth. Every day, as the sun was climbing along the sky arch to the west, she used to stop at her daughter's house for dinner. Now the sun hated the people of the earth because they never looked straight at her without squinting. She said to her brother, the moon, My grandchildren are ugly. They screw up their faces whenever they see me." But the moon said, "I like my young brothers, and I think they're handsome." This was because they always smiled pleasantly at his mild glow in the night sky. The sun was jealous of the moon's popularity and decided to kill the people. Every day, when she got near her daughter's house, she sent down such a sultry heat that fever broke out and people died by the hundreds. When everyone had lost some friend or family member, and it seemed as if no one would be spared, the humans went for help to the little men. These men, who were friendly spirits, said that the only way the people could save themselves was to kill the sun. The little men made medicine to change 2 humans into snakes, the spreading adder and the copperhead. They could go near the daughter's door and bite the old sun. The snakes went up to the sky and lay in wait until the sun arrived for dinner. But when the spreading adder was about to spring, her bright light blinded him, and he could only spit out yellow slime, as he does to this day when he tries to bite. The sun called him a nasty thing and went into the house, and the copperhead was so discouraged that he crawled off without trying to do anything. The people, still dying from the terrible heat, went a second time to the little men for help. Again, the little men made medicine and changed one man into a great Uktina, the water monster, and another into a rattlesnake. As before, the serpents had instructions to kill the old sun when she stopped at her daughter's house. Uktina was large and fierce with horns on its head, and everyone thought he would be sure to succeed. But the rattlesnake was so eager that he raced ahead and coiled up just outside the house. When the sun's daughter opened the door to look for her mother, he struck, and she fell dead in the doorway. Forgetting to wait for the old sun, he went back to the people, and Uktina was so angry at the rattlesnake's stupidity that he went back too. Since then, we pray to the rattlesnake and don't kill him because he wishes people well and never tries to bite if we don't disturb him. But Uktina grew angrier and more dangerous all the time. He became so venomous that he even looked at a man and the man's whole family would die. Eventually, the people held a council and decided that he was too dangerous, so they sent him to the end of the world, where he still is. When the sun found her daughter dead, she shut herself up in the house and grieved. Now the people were no longer dying from the heat, but they lived in darkness. Once more they sought help from the little men, who said that in order to coax the sun out, they must bring her daughter back from Ghost Country, which lies in the darkening land in the west. The people chose 7 men to make the journey. The little men told the 7 to take a box and told each to carry a sourwood rod a handbreadth long. When they got to the ghost country, the little man explained, they would find all the ghosts at a dance. They should stand outside the circle, and when the sun's daughter danced past them, they must strike her with the rods, and she would fall to the ground. Then they must put her in the box and bring her back to her mother. But they must not open the box, even a crack, until they arrived home. The 7 men took the rods and the box and traveled west for 7 days until they came to the darkening land. There they found a great crowd of ghosts having a dance, just as if they were alive. The sun's daughter was in the outside circle, and as she danced past them, one of the 7 men struck her with his rod. As she swung around a second time, another touched her with his rod, and then another, and another, until at the 7th round she fell out of the ring. The men put her into the box and closed the lid, and the other ghosts never seemed to notice what had happened. The 7 took the box and started home towards the east. In a while, the girl came to life again and begged to be let out, but the party went on without answering. Soon she called again and said she was hungry, but they did not reply. When at last the group was very near home, the daughter of the sun cried out that she was smothering and begged them to raise the lid just a little. Now they were afraid that she was really dying, so they barely cracked the lid to give her air. There was a fluttering sound, and something flew past them into the bushes. Then they heard a red bird cry, "Quish, quish, quish!" Shutting the lid, they went on again. But when they arrived at the settlement and opened the box, it was empty. So we know that the little red bird is the daughter of the sun. And if the party had kept the box closed as the little men told them, they could have brought her home safely. And today we would be able to recover our friends from the ghost country. Because the seven opened the box, however, we can never bring back people who die. The sun had been hopeful when the party had started off for the darkening land. But when they came back without her daughter, she wept until her tears caused a great flood. Fearing the world would be drowned, the people held another council and decided to send their handsomest young men and women to amuse the sun and stop her crying. This group danced before her and sang their best songs, but for a long time she kept a face bowed and paid no attention. At last, when the drummer suddenly changed the song, she looked up and was so pleased at the sight of the beautiful young people that she forgot her grief and smiled. The story rings similar to Persephone when she was kidnapped and taken to Hades. Demeter wept, and everything died until she was found. Now Persephone spends winters in Hades with Demeter weeping, but when she returns in the spring, everything springs back to life. So we should give thanks to the sun while we have it, even if it does make me sweat profusely. It's still nice to have a little light. Join us next week for our third and final episode dedicated to the sun. We've learned about the sun's origins and the efforts to whip the sun into submission. For our last episode on the sun, we'll learn a little something from the sun. It's with respect and gratitude that I offer you my blessings and thanks for sharing your journey and your time with me. I wish you well and look forward to sharing another story with you next week. If you enjoy the podcast, please like it and review it in your podcast service so we might further grow and expand our family. And feel free to send me an email. The contact information is in the show links, talesfromthefirstnations@gmail.com. Go in peace, return in peace, and may you be well. Both of our stories today come from the now defunct PyramidMesa.com. The Three-Legged Rabbit was told by Ella Clark in 1966, and Daughter of the Sun was based on James Mooney's account in the 1890s. For more great stories and legends, you can check out the Jaguar Bird channel on YouTube. There's a lot of wonderful content there, great stories, and a lot of community outreach. And of course, you can join me here next week for another story on Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and I will talk to you next time. This beautiful song you're enjoying right now is provided by my dear friend Scott Brocklesby, and our podcast image of the moon was provided by Mark Lawton. We'll see you next time. All right, that's it. How'd we do, Dawa? Phones? Excellent. Then I'll share it.